Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down with the proper perspective.
Okay, what's up? How y'all doing, everybody? Tonight, I'm gonna run that back one more time and get a real feel for it. If you're joining in, this is Shabazz with the proper perspective.
Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. The proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down with the proper perspective.
Okay, so how y'all doing, everybody? How y'all doing? This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. This is Shabazz perspective. How was everybody doing out there tonight? We are coming to you live tonight, and we're gonna be talking about a couple of things. Hopefully, I have a guest coming on. One of the topics that we are supposed to be building on tonight is it time for our very own political party? Is it time for the hip hop political party? Is it time for Black people to make their own, create their own, drive their own politics? Let me see. Try to wait a couple of minutes and make sure that I can get everybody into the chat room, or give everybody time to come on and make sure that YouTube is pushing out these notifications like they say they do. And also waiting on my special guest to drop in as well. So let's see. What is the time? It's politics time. What is the time? Is it politics time? So, asking a couple of questions. Most important question of the night: is it time for Black people to build their own political party? Let's see. So hopefully, if you say yes, if you say no, put something in the chat. I am also coming to you live through TikTok, and supposedly I'm told I'm also coming to you live through Instagram. I will have to check to see. So as I stall the game a little bit, so to speak, let me do my check.
Why are white people called Caucasian?
To see whether I'm actually live. It does not look like I'm live. So I'm going to assume that some of this stuff is imaginary. These notifications don't work like they say they do. If you do happen to join the stream, please hit the like button, hit the bell for the notification so you can find out when the next one is. And drop a comment. Drop a comment to answer the question. Drop a comment to answer the question. As we try to get it started here, so as to not have absolute dead silence, I'm gonna play the intro again, wait on a couple more people, and take care of some particularly loud pets that's stomping around here.
Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. The proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down with the proper perspective.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, I am trying to give everything appropriate time to make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. So come on back to the main screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, we are building tonight on whether or not it is time for Black people to have their own political party. But I got to admit to you, I didn't necessarily plan on doing this show on my own. So I'm looking for my guest. Let me send off a couple of more messages. Let me see. So if I do invite and send this invitation link on over. And we're going to see what's going on. We're going to see. Okay. I am going to give a shout out to the brother Kaleem Shabazz, who is now in the chat room. That's a good step. See if I can get him to get through to the live portion. He's supposed to be joining me tonight on this conversation. So let me see what I can do. Apparently the links are not working. Let's see, the links are not working. Kaleem Shabazz, would you hit the link? So Kaleem Shabazz says we have outgrown the other two parties. And we have to become leaders and not followers of the program of others. Okay, I tend to agree with that. But it would make for a much better show, brother, if you hit the link. If you hit the link and step into the live portion, it is very much time for us to move in an autonomous direction. I would agree with that, but I may have to do a little pushback and challenge to you, because while it may be time for us to have our own political party, it's high time. We should have been had our own political party. And I would also say technically now is as good a time as any to build it. But my question to you is, how many people do you need to build your political party? We need a political party real bad. I agree. Kaleem Shabazz says we need a political party real bad. I agree wholeheartedly. Now, how many people does it take to build a political party? That's the question. So now again, I tell you, this technology is something. Every time you make a plan, you make God laugh. Allah got one hell of a sense of humor. Okay, so here we go. Wait a minute. Turn this on. Okay. Now we might be getting somewhere. Got to get your camera ready though. Let me see. So, okay, brother Shabazz, brother Kaleem Shabazz, can you hear me in the live chat? Let me see if I can get you. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. So Kaleem Shabazz is now in the chat. And let's make sure his microphone is working. Let's make sure his microphone is working. And hopefully we can get the camera working too. Okay, so I got the settings looking a little bit better now. Now, brother Kaleem, say something so we can make sure that the mic's working properly. Say something for the
Yes, sir.
people.
We right here. We ready to get busy. I'm saying,
Okay,
yo, you can hear me though.
I can hear you. I can hear you nice and clear.
Word up. All right, so we got this.
Okay, yes indeed, we got you. If you can turn your mic up, I would ask that you turn your mic up a little bit, but I can't hear you fairly clearly.
All right, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, don't need none of that. I'll turn that volume up a little bit. Okay. So, what was you saying to me earlier? Now we're gonna get the show started for real,
Well,
for real. So,
well, basically, I'm saying in the name of Allah, beneficent, the merciful, we are people that are at the crossroads. We need to go in a certain direction, and we need guidance and leadership. The only way to do it.
okay, you went out. You still there?
Yo, I'm right here.
Okay, you went out for a minute. You saying, run that back again.
Yo, I'm right here. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what were you saying? You saying that we are a people that are what now?
We are people that are at the crossroads. It's like our political direction depends on our actions at this moment in time. We either follow behind others to a proven path of marginalization, or we can try to go by ourselves and see what we can do.
Okay, so wrong one. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not entirely disagreeing with you. I do believe um we have outgrown the other two parties. We have to become leaders and not followers, and we need our own programs. So in that I don't disagree. Um, now, so but here's one of my questions to you. If we have, if we do
Yo,
create this political,
I'm
yeah, go
right
ahead.
here. I'm right here though.
Okay, so if we create this political party that we create, is it just for us or is it for the whole of the country? Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so my question is, if we're going to create this political party, is this political party just for us or is it for everybody?
Well, basically, right, it's a question of black leadership. It's a question of really saying that we can have black people really are the political direction of the nation, working for our own interests. Other people want to work with us.
Okay, so you're willing to work with others. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, yo,
But
we got to. We're talking about 400 million people out here. We trying to get the whole nation together. You know what I mean? Supporting the hip hop party because as Obama led the way, he said he's the president of everybody, not just one group of people, like how the Republicans have always governed over us.
Okay. No, again, I think I follow what you're saying. I think I'm in agreement with. I'm definitely in agreement with the need, but I guess I'm trying to ask questions about uh, the logistics of it to some extent, and the effectiveness of it, in the sense that, okay, now, unless you disagree with me,
I mean,
like, the statistics. Well, hold on, let me the statistics that they report. I'm not saying that they are the absolute indisputable truth, but the statistics that they report say that black people are 13, sometimes they'll say 14, sometimes they'll drop it down to 11 and 12, but somewhere in that 12 to 15% of the population. 13 is really the norm. We are about 13 or 14% of the population. So if we're going to create this political party, again, I get that you're saying we'd be willing to work with others, but my question is, how is this political party that constitutes 13% of the population, how are they going to convince the rest of the population that we need to be voted for?
I mean, it's like black people are an attractive people. We realize that are full of black jobs. We realize black people have always been leaders and never followers. It's just recently that they become followers, and that's why they're in a marginalized position. So what we got to start to realize is that we have to take our thing into our own initiative and start to make moves. We certainly realize that the Democratic Party is a multicultural party led by white people. The Republican Party is a multicultural party led by white people. So the hip hop party is a multicultural party led by black people. We certainly realize that white people have always had responsibility on the direction of the nation. Now we're going to have other people become leaders, because hip hop is multicultural with black leadership as well too. We certainly do realize that there are all types of ethnicities that are involved in their hip hop culture, going from Spanish to European to Filipino, Asian, whatever. So we realize that the hip hop party also will not discriminate and also allow a lot of people who have the same values for a new generation of people who are now in come of age, so where they can control their own destiny and not rely on others to steward their destiny to benefit the 1%.
Okay, that was very well articulated. I feel you. So we're gonna build a party in some way, fashion, or form, even though it's saying it is a hip hop party, because hip hop is not just about black people. Hip hop encompasses all people. Our political party can encompass all people. I feel you on that. Um, wait, you giving me a lot to think about, to think about. I didn't necessarily, when I first heard about it, I was just only thinking, well, hip hop is black culture, so a hip hop party would be black for black people. But I feel you, because the music itself expands and encompasses everybody. So if we're gonna do this, um, how long do you think it's gonna take to actually build this party? And I asked that question because, like, we have there are several third parties that are already out there, and they've been out there for a while, and they haven't necessarily been able to make a dent, so to speak, in the political discourse, or even in gaining at least national or federal seats. Like, now there may be some, libertarians, there may be some Green Party people who've been elected to school boards here and there, but like we don't really have. And now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we really have any third party candidates that have been elected to the House of Representatives or the Senate. Definitely not the Senate, and clearly not the White House. So if they've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, and so on, how long is it going to take us to build this hip hop political party?
I mean, I certainly realized that hip hop blew up overnight. We realized in the last, since the golden era, hip hop has got out of control. We certainly realized that if we put voter registration pamphlets and applications inside CDs and online, we can start to build a party with real registered voters. We realize that 50% of the people in America now don't vote because they've been so disenchanted with the political process. We've come to become with a new angle. We are not reinventing the square which doesn't move, but we are starting to move in revolutionary circles 360 in order for us to bring new light and a new direction for the nation. As young people, we certainly realize that the nation will belong to us as soon as we become of age. We realize we are starting to pay a lot of money for our policies, which we don't agree with. We got to say we got to put people in position making places to put decision making to make key decisions for people in certainly hard situations. We realize that it's time for us to come together as one. We can do a lot of things really quickly because popular music has young people, and young people are active. Young people make moves. Older people sit back and become academic and want to muse on things and try to de- debate and haggle and have all this type of discussion while young people are people of action. So I'm saying once we got started, it would be hard to stop because inertia is a certain thing. Inertia says that objects in motion tend to stay in motion and objects at rest tend to stay in rest. So we got to get in motion so we can stay in motion because right now we at rest, staying in rest, and these are uh, physical attributes or physics. So we certainly realize that we have the opportunity right now to change our direction of the nation and make things better for our kids. Instead of complaining, we can take charge. What I'm looking at right now is I see a lot of rappers are actually looking to go from the studio to the stump. We seen Kanye West actually want to run for president. We certainly seen Killer Mike. We seen um Luke Campbell, Luke Skywalker from Two Live Crew run for mayor. We remember Scarface Johnson ran for city council in in Houston. So we got to see that there are a lot of rappers that are saying we've seen the problems that happen inside our community. We want to be put in decision making places in order for us to work to solve some of these problems because we are not spectators because they affect people that we love. We certainly realize there are people who are around us that are now being affected by the bad policies of the other two parties. So we certainly got to have a new direction. So as we're seeing a lot of rappers being called to uh, enter into the political arena, what we're not realizing is they are certainly becoming part of the Democratic and the Republican machine, and then they will be drowned out in a sea of voices that will not hear them. So they will only be token people who are giving their vote and their support to people who have policies that have historically marginalized our people. It's time that people wake up and go in a new direction because we want tangibles. We don't want to protest to have people change their behavior. What we want to do, we want to protest to put our people in office so we can make the decisions for ourselves in order for us to make our lives better and have our vision of America come true. For we are citizens who are taxing, who have been taxed. No taxation without representation is unconstitutional. We want to certainly realize that the Constitution was a greatly written document and we follow behind it. So let us work within the political structure in order for us to use the Constitution to benefit our lives and make us better as we look for a search for freedom, justice, and equality.
Okay, okay. Well, you really slam dunking the points on. It was a lot of good stuff that you said there. I wanted to key up on one thing in particular when you mentioned the rappers that have run for office or at least jumped into politics a little bit or whatever. So my question is, have you have you reached out to any of them? Have you had has the hip hop political party made any inroads with them, or any other rappers?
All right. Well, what happened was the hip hop actually party was an idea that I had on my own. And when I researched it, I went and I found that there were other people with the idea of the hip hop political party coming out of Philadelphia. So I hooked up with them And we certainly realized there was a lot of rappers that were already involved in the hip hop political party. But what they want to do is they want to change the structure from a political organization to a community organization, one that we already have far too many in our community that are ineffective. What we do need is a political party. So we got to get some of these rappers to start to have voter registration applications at some of their shows so we can quickly climb up the ladder, you know what I mean, and be recognized. They only can't recognize because we got no numbers. Politics is a numbers game. So we certainly realize once we get the numbers, they will start paying attention to us. They want to try to ignore us as long as they can, as long as we don't have the numbers. A great idea with no numbers means nothing. That's like having a great idea with no army. You can't enforce it. So we need to have numbers and get some support. So all we need to do is start to get ourselves organized, because the people organized will never be defeated. So we got to organize our people with vision, because vision plus commitment equals success. So once we start to commit to the process, we will see that we are taking charge and taking things into our own hands so we can go as far as we can from our own ability and not waiting on others to somehow think about us when they are finished working for their own people in the 1% to see if they can come back to us. We want tangibles, and we want our own people in office to represent ourselves, because taxation without representation is unconstitutional.
Okay, you hit another good buzzword there, my brother. Tangibles. We want tangibles. Um, okay. I'm still following along with you. What are the tangibles that we want? And well, maybe a two-part question. What are the tangibles, and why is it that we need our own party to get those tangibles?
I mean, uh, we certainly need to look within our community. I mean, we're at the nascent stage, but we've been there for 400 years. We're at a nation stage in our political development. We know what we want, and we know what we need. We need better housing. We need better schools. We need better jobs and better businesses. And we need problems with the police to be rectified. We certainly realize there's too many of our people in the prison in the school prison pipeline. So we can't have to happen, because our young people who we care about daily are only objects to the political structure and to the political system, because they don't care about us, because they see us as just numbers on a piece of paper whose lives that they could destroy. But that's somebody that we care about, and matter of fact, it could even be us in one given day, because we certainly realize that there is no black man or black woman that is above the wicked eye of the oppression. We certainly realize that they want to keep us marginalized, and anybody who stands up will ultimately get lynched. We got to be prepared for this, and we got to know what we're stepping into, because we realize that power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and the 1% want to have absolute power, and we're trying to stop them by organizing the people at a grassroots level in order for us to uh, gain our political tangibles. When we talk about political tangibles, we talk about schools, we talk about prisons. We want to have prison reform. There's so many issues in our community that we could touch base on, that we need to really come together and really start to really, connect with each other to see what we can have. That's what a political party is all about. We're saying what problems can we solve, and how can we organize as a majority or as a large group of people in order for us to solve some of these problems, in order for us to have a better life for our kids, and really have a true pursuit of happiness as written in the Constitution by the founding fathers.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I agree with you with a lot of what you're saying. And I'm very much interested in, continuing the conversation and trying to figure out ways to work the conversation into physical manifestation. Um, but so again, now this I may jump back to like what seems like the same question over and over again, because I'm trying to get at something, but I'm like, okay, we definitely we have this idea of the tangibles, and the tangibles of what is needed for our community. Now I'm gonna go back to this question though. We're 13% of the population, and we obviously have issues that definitively affect us and only affect us. And we need to be organized to work on those issues. Now, again, if we're 13% of the population, then we create this political party, and this political party it can encompass everyone, but the tangibles that we want at the top of the list are going to be the issues that affect us either only or primarily. Now, how are how are we going to convince other population groups, other ethnicities, other races that they should support the hip hop political party over the Republicans or the Democrats when the top issues
Well,
on our ticket only affect us?
yeah, I mean that is a strong point, but we certainly realize that when they say affect us, there are a lot of people who are going through some of the same things we're going through, but they wanted to divide and conquer. We, should, we certainly
Whoa.
realize that some of the issues that affect black people or affect marginalized people will certainly uh, affect brown people and even yellow people. So some ones who have been marginalized. There's a lot of things that we can have some common ground on.
You okay, bro?
Excuse me. Pardon me like that. I'm just getting over a cold. But the thing is, there's a lot of things that we have some common ground on as the populace of America. We shouldn't realize that the taxes are being used for the wrong things. There's a lot of things that I want to use the hip hop party to expand a lot of people's political mindset in order for us to say that we need to protect the environment. That's something that I really feel strongly about because there's a lot of damage that's being caused to a lot of people's homes and a lot of people's businesses because of the environmental the destruction that's now taking place because the Republican Party doesn't care about the environment because they care more about the profit than anything else. Nobody is speaking for the working class people. We certainly realize if we can get independents like Bernie Sanders to come part of our party, you know what I mean, who certainly is white, but he has a lot of connections to working class people, we certainly could have him help us grow the party. There's a lot of energy. Once we get started, the inertia will take us over. Like I said, a lot of rappers have already tried to run for office without the vision of doing it for self just because they've never been taught or they've never seen the hip hop party for them to really get down with. A lot of people saying, how do you beat the machine? You know what I mean? How do you beat the Republican and Democrat machine? Because they're the establishment and they've been there forever. Well, I'm saying the people are disenfranchised. People are disenchanted with the two parties because they've been disenfranchised. The 1% keep getting more and more and more of the profits, and the reason why the other two parties don't want to stop them is because they're in their back pocket. You see, the corporations have bought the other two parties. We don't want to get bought by the corporations. We want to be as autonomous as possible so we can certainly do a lot of strategic moves in order for us to augment our popularity. One of them could be to have artists make political commercials
You
to
need to
have
get
artists make political commercials that are songs and have the song played on the radio. That way, we won't have to pay for our political ads, but we will get paid when our political ad is musical and played on the radio all times of 14 times a day, 15, 20 times a day. So we can certainly have ways of saving money and pushing and promoting the party.
you need to get some water, bro. Okay. Let me see. We're gonna give brother Kaleem a minute to maybe get a drink of water. I'm giving a shout out to. I think I got another guest coming up on the stage. Cisse. If I'm saying your name correctly, let me know. If I'm not, let me know. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Or
yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
How
All
are
right.
you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine. Last week I was on your platform. You remember the Pan African TV?
Yes, yes, I do.
Oh, that's me.
Where you from? Where you you on
Yeah,
the continent or you over here in the state somewhere?
I'm in the state, but I'm from the continent.
Okay. Where on the continent?
Mali,
Mali. Okay. What's up? What's up?
not a much. Yeah.
Okay. So did you want to chime in on tonight's conversation or you want to say something about last week's topic?
Um. What was? Yeah. Last week's topic. I think you were talking about the worldwide black organization to to look for allies to work
Hmm.
together, and then yes,
Right.
I like those ideas because I
Right.
believe if we come to Black America, this is what I put. I mean, I try to let most Black Americans know. The Asians in America, the Europeans in America, the Latinos in America, they trade with where they came from originally. If you look at
Hmm.
the Asians, they trade with Asia. Anything come from Asia, 80% of that resources pass through the Asian's hand in terms of
Uh-huh.
business. Anything
Uh-huh.
come from Latin America, you can see Spanish. They have many conventional stores, big stores. They sell their stuff there, so they create their own jobs.
Hmm. Uh-oh. The brother went out. Well, maybe hopefully he come back in. He was making a good point. If I understand it correctly, what I think he was saying was when you look at the other communities in this country, you got Asians, Latinos, and so on and so forth. And they do business with their back home folk. So
Yes,
they set up a business in America and they do shipping and bringing goods and whatnot from wherever it is that they come from. And that's
yes,
something that we as Black Americans need to start looking at. I
yes,
think that's what you're saying, right?
yes. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So, okay, supposedly Black America. I mean, right now, I mean, there are many Black Americans who are in Africa. So the one in America, they should organize themselves, create a company like a corporation, like that
Hmm.
can ship things from Africa to here. I believe anything come from Africa, black people should have a monopoly over it. So
Yes.
if that's the case, so you will have your own port, you will have many, many, many things that you can control. You can
Hmm.
control your food supplies. You can right now Aliko Dankote, he has his own oil company refinery that supply. I mean, one man disrupt entire European oil supplies. Can you imagine if Black America has their own oil company? They can
Hmm.
put every community a gas station. That brings a lot of money. They create a
Right.
job, give them money, give you political power. So these are the things. Like, if in your own representative, you can buy them. Politics is just buying. You can elect somebody, but if the other community can offer them better, they will abandon you.
Hmm. Okay. Well, again, he made a very good point. 2 points he made. Uh, one, anything coming from Africa to be sold over here, black people should have the monopoly on that. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I like that very much. Now it would be on us to get those situations organized. It would be on us to get into those avenues of business and create the companies and corporations that we need to create in order to conduct those affairs. But I do think that is something that is definitely um, something that should be done, or at least we should be looking at it and talking about it until we get to a point where we realize If we were to realize it's untenable, that would be something else. But I don't think too many people have even looked at it. So I'll agree with him with that. Um, and then he said something that definitely relates to what Kaleem is talking about. This politics thing. Now he said, if you build up the right amount of money and you organize, maybe you don't need a political party. You can just buy the politician and keep it moving. Now,
Yeah, look, politics
you
is
know,
money. Whoever
uh-huh.
has the money, whoever has the money, you run the politics. Look at the Jews. They don't
Mm,
have to have a no, they don't have to contest in any political position, but
mm,
they buy them. So if a black America, I'm telling you, any resources, if a black America has a monopoly over Africa, anything come from Africa to America, they control.
mm. I kind of agree with that. I don't know, Kaleem, are you back? Because I was
Yeah,
gonna
right
say,
here, right here.
well, Elon Musk is at least today's on the scene, on the spot example of buying a candidate. If you got the money, maybe there wouldn't be necessarily one black person with enough money to buy the candidate. But if we pool our resources, we could definitely buy some candidates the same way Elon Musk did.
I mean, that would take a lot of political organization. But I mean, why should we put others in position to make key decisions that we can make for ourselves? That would still put us in a position that is marginalized. We certainly realize we got enough intelligence to lead ourselves. We don't
Mhm.
need to be weak-minded and behind the back and say that we buy somebody and hide behind the scenes like a corporation. We are upfront in your face telling us that we are making the decisions that are going to affect our people and that we are doing this as a populace. The people united will never be defeated. So we don't want to really give our power over to others. We want to take power. We are taking power this generation, not giving power away or buying power.
Okay. Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to weigh. I'm literally trying to weigh the pros and cons in my own mind, and I'm literally trying to, come around to a conclusion on my for myself. Let me see. Let me give a shout out to Dusty Commando, who is in the building, in the room. He says, "For the wages of sin is death by punishment, but by our Lord's grace, Jesus Christ, we are saved. Amen." Okay, I'm not necessarily sure that relates to the topic at hand. Um, he says, Dusty Commando says, turning away from sin and turn to Jesus Christ. Well, again, um, it would be much better if you was dropping some knowledge on the topics at hand. But I do appreciate your presence, and it's not like I'm gonna block you or kick you out the room or anything like that. But again, so let me put this back to both. I already know what Kaleem says. Cisse, I'm in agreement with you about organizing these businesses, but what do you think about? And if you don't feel like it's a comfortable enough topic, then that's fine. You don't necessarily have to answer it. But what do you think about what Kaleem is saying in reference to black people creating their own political party over here in the States?
I mean, yes, I mean, y'all can do it, but I mean, again, I mean that would be a bargaining power. I mean, you have a bargaining power. So if Republican wants to come, so you can put some demand on the table. Okay, if we are going to support you, it's like a coalition. In Europe, all the countries in Europe, they all have a coalition. There's no only two party in any country. They have a multiple political party. So if I'm coming to you, you have to give me offer. You see what I'm saying? You
Okay, I
don't just
do. Yeah,
yeah,
I do see that. That's
yeah.
a good point. That's a good point. All of the most countries, definitely all of Europe, but most countries have more than two parties. So for that alone, okay, Kaleem is right. We need to establish another juggernaut on the field of politics because this this two-party system is not really working, and I don't necessarily think it's working for anybody. I think, one of the reasons, I don't know if the numbers was 36 or 78 million, but it was a vast amount of people that just chose not to vote. They just said, I'm not coming out to vote, period. And they pretty much said, I'm not coming out to vote because I don't care anymore. I don't like either party. I don't like either candidate. And I'm tired of voting for the lesser of two evils. So they just said, I'm done. Now, of course, you got people that's mad at that and upset with that. But if you don't have, if you cannot attract the customers, so to speak, into the market, then you got to do something different. Let me see. Let me throw this on the screen. So Kaleem Shbaz says, "This I believe is from Allah for this time that we are in." Puff already started a party, but he didn't finish as he ran into problems. Yeah, he ran into a brick wall of problems, that's for sure. This is a hip hop party more than a black party, as it is led by black people and even brown people. But black people are maturing, and now we want to take power to do for ourselves. Okay, I ain't mad at that. And Kaleem also says 50% of the people didn't vote. We 50% of the people didn't vote. We don't want to be the lesser of two evils, but the light that is good to elevate a people. I feel you there. I like that. That's no problem there. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. So we need this party. We need this political party. Where are we going to start? How do you start building this political party?
Well, it would be a lot easier if we had a connection to media, and we had the nascent stages right now. What happened was the party got together in Philly. We started to run candidates, but that kind of broke apart. But the idea was so powerful in my mind that I couldn't let it fall. So I'm looking for people to help me register the party in different states. Right now, we got Philadelphia and we got Pennsylvania, but we need to have people in New York. If we could start to run for smaller offices, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If we could start to run for smaller offices, we wouldn't need as much money, and we wouldn't need as much exposure. We could just have smaller offices. I mean, smaller offices to run for, and then we could use ourselves in a mindset that's able to have the party grow by having a bottoms up type of mentality where we start to go from the grassroots and start to work for the common man and woman rather than the 1% and those who are obscenely rich. Because what they want is they want 50% of the capital to be in the hands of 1% of the people. And we certainly can't allow ourselves to become part of that, or then we are fighting for crumbs from the table. Black people know far too much how much crumbs from the table don't taste right. We comes from the table certainly cannot feed you and cannot fill your stomach. We certainly want a full meal. We want to sit at the table. We don't want crumbs. We want to sit at the table for all that we have contributed to the nation over 400 years. It's time we got something back. We want proper representation if we have taxation. We certainly realize that African people have committed a lot of hours of work for the nation. Now it's time to get something back. Obama was the first black president, and he did an admirable job. We certainly realized he was a stepping stone and not the be all. A lot of people want to say we live in a post-racial society because now we had a black president. But we certainly realized that I was only a stepping stone. They want to pat themselves on the back, congratulating themselves before the job is actually finished, but only when it appears to be done. There's still a lot of black problems. We can certainly ask Travis Smiley and Cornel West about the faults of Obama, showing show that his hands were tied. As a stepping stone, there's only so much he could move the needle. He moved it, but now why move it backwards by then putting on another candidate that they handpicked that had their interests in mind more than the interest of the people? The grassroots people are certainly being supported by the hip hop party, and the party certainly supports the grassroots people, no question.
Okay. Okay. You know, you got a real flair for this for the speech on this party now. Are you running? You running for
No,
office?
nah, I'm not running right now, but I mean, I have a lot of political experience. My father was really good friends with the first black mayor in New York, David N. Dinkins. Really good friends, and he's friends with the Clintons. And I mean, he knows a lot of people in politics. He actually got somebody elected to state senate in New York, a man by the name of Rick Perry. No, Nick Perry. Rick Perry is the governor of Texas. They have similar names, different party, different ideas. But Nick Perry got actually elected to office because my father was the campaign manager. I'm very deep into politics. There's no question that I see the opportunities that exist inside a political party that works for us and not for the major corporations. Bernie Sanders is a big name person who has stayed independent. He's not even a Democrat. He stays independent in order for him not to be bogged down by the conundrum of the two-party system. He's looking for a party to be a part of that will actually represent the needs of the people and that is free from the restraints of the other two parties. So we certainly realize that once we have the hip hop political party, if we can get connected to one or two big name political or musical energies, then we will start to see wildfire happen as the party starts to catch a flame. Realize from a match we can catch a flame. So we realize from something really small we can start something that's really big. So all we gotta do is realize that vision plus commitment equals success. Once we have a vision, let's commit to the process in order to become successful. The process certainly realized we need to volunteer and sign people up for this party. We need people all over the nation taking the interest in politics again because it represents them now and not the major corporations who have the other ones in their pocket from buying them out. Kamala Harris is bought. We certainly realize Donald Trump is bought. We certainly realize even Joe Biden is bought, and even Obama is bought to an extent. Right now, we are the new kids on the block. I'm not saying that after a point in time, we won't succumb to the political culture and act in a similar way just to be in harmony with the workings of Washington or any state house. But we certainly realize that we can start to move towards a direction where we can have our people ready to make decisions that are based upon ourselves. Yo, you
Okay, I
there?
don't know what happened. You still
I
there?
don't, nah. Everything's cool. Everything's cool. But I'm
Okay,
just
okay.
saying, we certainly realize that the hip hop political party is something that's come of age. The time is now. It's something that we can't sleep on. We gotta be prepared. The devil wants us sleeping. I mean, it's hard to bring spirituality into politics, but we are a spiritual people, and I think that's why the nation is going backwards because we've lost our spirituality. They want to change the prayer. They want to change all types of things, take God out of school, but we can't take God out of the minds of the people. We realize that this is a nation that's founded on the principle of higher powers. The founding fathers, I believe, were divinely inspired when they wrote the Constitution. So there's no question in my mind that we got to keep God inside our mindset in order for us to have the political party become successful. Now we realize that there's a lot of people that could support it. Most people are sheep, so they will go wherever the best shepherd leads them. We want to become the best shepherd. We want to listen to your concerns and do what the people want and not what the corporations want. We want to have the people have a better life. We don't want to have the corporations have a better life. We want to see the people with more jobs. Right now, we're at a crossroads. The corporations who are buying the politicians have a plan that is going to cut jobs and make more money for them, and they already had the politicians bought. So we got to step in now before it becomes too late and accept it as part of culture that we work for the corporations that wants to put microchips inside of us in order for us to function. more efficiently inside their society, which they have created in order to empower the 1%.
Okay, well said. I want to give a little pushback, but it may just be a technicality. You said you believe that the two things. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, what now? You said that you believe that the writers of the Constitution were divinely inspired or
Yeah,
guided, and you said that you what else? That's the other thing that you said. Let's just run with that one for a hot second. Really? Like
yeah,
you think they were? So you think? Oh, and you said that you wanted to. You said there's an issue with them taking prayer out of the schools.
yeah.
So okay, now if they were so divinely inspired and guided, how come they didn't take care of this whole we enslaving them Africans issue right
I
then and
mean,
there? What's
I
up with
mean,
God not not making them address that?
basically that's because of timing. We realized that the founding fathers, some of them were slave owners, some of them were not. Some of them were Masons, some of them were not. But we realized that they left a lot of them freedom on their will. They couldn't economically afford to stop slavery because that was the political and economic culture of the time. But they morally realized that it was wrong, a lot of them, and they freed them on their death. I'm not sure how far that goes. I'm not expecting them to be as great as Mansa Musa, but they certainly stepped in the right direction. They certainly, I think it was Thomas Jefferson that married a black woman, so they certainly recognized Sarah Hemmings, I think. So we certainly realized that they had a lot of respect for black people. The founding fathers did, but the culture of the time did not. So they would look way out of place if they said a lot of things that they really felt about black people, for they would jeopardize their own standing in their own community, because they would certainly be affecting the wallets of a lot of people in the in the slave agricultural society and culture. So we certainly realized that they were bounded by time, that they couldn't say a lot of things that we certainly would hope that they would say for being um ahead of time and being divinely inspired. I certainly realize that when you read the Constitution, as I do from time to time, you certainly realize that the words are way certainly ahead of time. It was the first republic on the planet other than Greece. To really bring that idea back to overthrow the monarchy was a strong statement for the people being united to overcome all oppression. That was divine. That was a giant step for humanity, and that had to be divinely inspired. Just because you take one step doesn't mean that you've completed the marathon. There's a long way to go. We certainly realize that America had to go to war, the bloodiest war in American history. I think all the other wars combined, other than Vietnam, ultimately didn't amass to the amount of killing that we've seen in the Civil War, to have states keep the right to keep black people as subhuman 3/5 of a human being. And we certainly realize that it's so ingrained in our culture that there has to be a vote to have black people vote all the time. Yeah, Thomas her name was Sarah Hemmings, I think. So we certainly realize that Africans have contributed a lot to America in very different capacities, right? It's time for us to, move forward and start to uh, get tangibles for some of our energies that we put inside the political process. We've always elected others. Now it's time to do for self what we've done for others and to have them become elected. We see that all over the world. Black people are rising up, especially in Africa, because people are saying that the people united will never be defeated. But there's so much freedom in America that, that people are choosing to be different, even if it's just to go upstream and be a whole different mindset. They're choosing to be different in order for them to uh, express individuality, which goes against the collective. We want to start to move in unity and start to say, how can we make things better for our brother and our sister? The way that we do that is by becoming part of a political structure where the people are organized and working for nationalism. The Black Panther Party was a political party that never got off the ground. I mean, we certainly realize if we can have our own people in office who support our own interests, then we will be able to get some of the tangibles which we've been asking for and needing for quite a bit of time.
Okay. I want to give a little bit of pushback, but before I do that, let me say a couple of things. Number one, if you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Proper Perspective. This is Shabazz with The Proper Perspective. We are live right now, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining in. And if you're in the chat room and you want to say something, the link is pinned. So please hit the link and come on up. That's my little station break. I wanted to ask, I'm having some issues with Cisse. His connection is on and off, but when he comes back, I got a couple of questions for him. But okay, I'm not trying to disagree, but I do gotta ask a little bit. I do gotta ask you this question, Colleen. Now you said Thomas Jefferson married a black woman. I don't have that in my historical documentation that he married her. I have
But I
that he
think he
slept
married
with
her.
her.
Yeah.
I had that he slept with her. I had that he made babies with her, but I ain't seen nothing that said he married her.
Nah, he ain't.
And he started that relationship when she was a minor.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, let's let's just kick the facts. I'm not saying, especially if somebody's out there and they listening, and if you one of those, only thing you know about American history is the good stuff that they told you in school, then you might get mad that I'm saying this or bringing this up or whatever. But look, facts is facts. I don't like, if I'm wrong, drop it in the chat, leave me a link, tell me where to go and look to correct myself, but I ain't never seen nothing written. And I'm a bit of a history buff, so I never heard any information about them two getting married.
Nah, all
Sleep
right, all
together,
right.
live together, maybe. But okay, I just wanted to put that out there, correct the record, because that don't necessarily take from what you were saying about the ideas of the Constitution necessarily. But since you brought up that we can now look and see that many people on the continent are rising up, and we should be rising up too. I wanted to see if Cisse wanted to either just say something in general, or if you wanted to, chime in and let us know. Some people know because we stay glued to world news. Some people don't listen to any news, so they may not have any idea. But you said that you are from Mali, so I would assume that you pay attention to the news coming out of Mali right now. Cisse. Whoop, Cisse gone again. Well, if he come back, I'm gonna put the question to him again. But if you are interested, you really should be taking a look at the news coming out of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, as three West or
Okay.
Central African countries. You should
Yes.
also be paying attention to BRICS. But okay, Cisse is back, so go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Even today, there's a news saying that African Union is going to have a meeting this month. So
Okay.
probably they will select a new leader. I hope he's not like the guy we have in there. He's sell out completely. So the new chairperson, what they're proposing to support African descendants for their reparation. You can go to YouTube. You can type um, African Union reparation something. You will see it there. So they
African Union.
union, yeah,
African Union to focus on reparations for people of African descent and Africans. Oh, and this is brand spanking new. This was 7 hours ago. Okay. So let me see if I can share my screen and maybe we can get we can take a listen to this. Let's see. Where is the screen share? Entire screen. And here we go with cut the sound on. So here we go with sharing the screen.
Is
And
happening in the 30th African Union Summit is happening in February, and they've announced their agenda for that. According to the AU, the reparation justice is so that Africa can promote healing, equity, and recognition of the rights and contributions of African people. It encompasses a range of initiatives aimed at addressing historical injustice stemming from colonization, slavery, and systemic discrimination, including historical acknowledgement, financial reparations, land restitution, cultural preservation, policy reforms, international accountability, community empowerment, and continued advocacy. The summit is going to be held in Addis Ababa from February 15 to 16, and this is in the agenda. It is going to be interesting to listen to what they are going to propose and what fruit this discussion will bring forth, especially when it comes to reparations. And they've also put in land restitution, which is going to address issues of land that was taken away from the locals, and now others are settling on it. So they are going to discuss either they are going to leave the land and give it to the locals, or they are going to pay reparations. We'll see where this meeting will go, if they are going to be fruitful with the conversation. But anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about the agenda of the coming summit of the African Union. I am Ungil Zalalam. I'll see you on the next one. The 30th African Union Summit.
okay. So stop sharing. Okay. So you got it live. Thank you, Cisse, for informing us. I almost feel a bit embarrassed because I got like these alerts set up on certain like news topics. So I usually get my alerts. Um, not that I gotta be the first person, but I always want to get that information. And so I'm almost like embarrassed that I missed this alert. I didn't see this. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to hear it. Let me okay, fix this. Okay. So all right, now bringing everybody back. So, yes indeed, there is a meeting about to happen of the African Union, and they too will be discussing reparations for descendants of Africans as well as Africans on the continent. So again, Kaleem is right. It is time. If you take a look around globally, you will see black people, black populations on the continent and in the diaspora are standing up and organizing. That's the chief part. Standing up is one thing, and standing up is great, but you can't stand up without organization unless you're just playing to sit back down again. So standing up and organizing and standing up. So in that regard, yes, it's high time that we create some type of political movement. Now, I'm gonna still keep the door open on whether it should be creating our own political party or whether we should take over. We should be flooding, for instance, flooding the Democrats the way that the MAGA nuts flooded the Republicans. If you are a student of American politics, then you will know, you can testify to what I'm about to say. The Republican Party today is not the Republican Party of yesterday. The people running the Republican Party today are the MAGA nuts and the birthers and the Tea Party nuts. They effectively, that was three specific movements. If you don't want to call them parties, that's fine. They may not have registered as parties, but they were three different political movements that came together and said, we can put our own people in office and we can take over. And because their ideas were more akin to Republicans, they decided to run alongside the Republicans, the same way as Colleen brought up Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is an independent. almost has, I'm not going to say factually always has been, but almost has always been an independent of his own. But as an independent, he almost always sides with, rides with, votes in alliance with the Democrats. So the MAGA nuts, there's a lot of things that the MAGA nuts agree 100% with the Republicans. There's just a small handful of things that they disagree with Republicans. And they say, well, we don't care about what we disagree with because we're going to take over the party. And they took that party over in a few years, in a few short years. They got their biggest movement started when Obama was elected. So if you go from Obama's time to now, you got about maybe 10 years. Now, with that is the case, so it might take 10 years to build this political party. Is now, am I right or am I wrong about saying that, Colleen?
Yo, you making good sense. I'm saying it will take some time. We at the nascent stage. Vision plus commitment equals success. We got the vision, but we certainly realize we've been in the same problem for 400 years. We've been on the democratic problem for maybe 300, maybe 200 years. No less than that. Maybe like over 100 years. You know what I mean? Since
Mm-hmm.
since FDR. So we suddenly realized that we've been democratic ever since because he put us on the welfare. Now we got to say we want to become independent and think about Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey taught us about black nationalism and trying to make our people become as autonomous as possible. I think this political party is part of our autonomy and we start to make the decisions for ourselves and put ourselves in key decision-making places to make those decisions. We certainly have the political energy, but we're certainly giving it away to the Democratic and Republican Party. We got people who can speak. Let's face it, Michelle Obama said that politics is black jobs. We got a lot of black men that are working for the Democratic Party that could easily be working for the hip hop party. We certainly can get black governors. We can get Hispanic governors, brown governors. We can get all kinds of people that have never been represented before who are paying taxes, who are saying taxation without representation is unconstitutional. We want to follow behind the words that are inspired by the Most High that was given to Thomas Jefferson when he wrote the Constitution. We certainly realize that we have the vision to create a better America, but we got to get involved. If we're not involved, it's just a vision. There's no action or commitment to have success. Vision plus commitment equals success. We need that commitment to the political party, y'all. Come on, we're not asking for money right now. We're asking for your vote. We can raise money with political shows. Imagine all the money we could create by having a political rhyme fest where we have all the highest artists coming in to rhyme like how Snoop Dogg rhymed for Trump. We can get
We don't talk about Snoop Dogg now.
yeah, I know Snoop Dogg got his issues. We certainly realize that. But I mean, that's just an example. I mean, certainly did the wrong thing. But they certainly realized how the Republican parties were using the strength of hip hop to bolster their position. So we gotta we gotta use the same type of idea and use hip hop to bolster our position, but not in a not in a substandard way, but certainly in the way which is going to benefit the masses. The people united will never be defeated.
Okay. So let me say this. Just an interesting note, point of historical fact. Because a lot of times people, you'll hear people saying, you know, we've been voting Democrat for so long and we didn't got out of it. We should go back to the Republicans. And okay, look, as a total accumulation, we supported the Republicans for a minimum of 67 years. We voted Republican for about 67 years. And I'm not going to say we didn't get nothing out of it. We got some stuff out of it. And we had reasons for voting Republican. And then there was a transitional period for about 30 years where Republicans started shifting and doing weird things, and Democrats started shifting and doing weird things. And we were kind of like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And then once the smoke cleared, the Republicans went hard into the anti black agenda, and Democrats went hard into the we ain't got no problems with you agenda. And out of that, we've been voting Democrat for about 61 years. So really, it's been almost even. We spent 60 some odd years voting Republican. We've spent 60 some odd years voting Democrat. We got a little bit out of each side. So maybe it is time for us to start working. We need to be in a transition period as we build our own party. And then perhaps we can get, you know, a greater, a stronger foothold in the political arena. But I just wanted to put that out there in perspective, um, for people who say we've been voting Democrat too long. We've been voting for Democrats for the same amount of time that historically we voted for the Republicans. So what would be the point of just going in a circle? Let's do Republicans for 60 years, then let's do Democrats for 60 years, then let's go do Republicans for 60 years, then let's go do Democrats. If you tried them out both, if you tried both parties out and you don't like what you've gotten out of either one, that would be a reason to say, okay, we need to build our own house. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there. Cisse, did you have something to say? Okay, I'm not hearing. Okay, Cisse dipped out again. So okay, again, Kaleem.
Yeah.
I also wanted to let me throw this out at you too. Now, it's interesting that you said, you know, as we are trying to build this political party, it may take some time. So in the meantime, while we're building a political party, don't we still have to be invested in at least one of the parties that's out there right now? So we still have to figure out, okay, while we're building the hip hop political party, we still gonna have to vote for a Republican or a Democrat somewhere. You know, so I say that to say it's interesting enough that, especially in the alongside the ideas of using hip hop and entering hip hop into the political arena. I mean, we do know last year was the year of hip hop, the 50th anniversary. So hip hop is 50 years old. At 50 years old, you should be venturing out into more and more different arenas and avenues. You know, we have seen a lot of the moguls, a lot of the rappers turn mogul, and they are venturing out into other businesses. So shouldn't the culture itself jump into other avenues? If you are Now, if you're really a hip hop fan, then you know who the Lords of the Underground are, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to their show tomorrow. I'm going to their show tomorrow. I think one of the brothers from the crew, I think his name is Do It Easy. I think that
Do
kid
it
ran,
all.
yeah, Do It All, right? Yeah,
Yes.
he ran for office too, but he wasn't down with the political party. I think if we got to him with these ideas, I think he'd be receptive. It's just that we're not organized and nobody heard of us because we in the nascent stages yet. But I think the inertia will work for us, and as things start to catch on, the flame will catch fire like wow.
True, because he's out of Newark.
Yeah,
He was a member of Lords of the Underground. His rap name was Do It All. His government name, and it ain't no thing that I'm putting out there because it's all public, and he's a public representative. But his government name is Dupree or Dupre. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Dupree Kelly. He was elected to the Newark City Council's West Ward in a nonpartisan election on June 4th, 2022. He assumed office on July 1st, 2022. He's still in office today. Says 22, 23, 24, 25. He's been there for 4 years, and his term isn't set to end until June 30th, 2026. So that's a hip hop personality. That's an MC, a rapper who did indeed jump into the political forum, ran for office, won the election, and he did it as an independent. He did it as a nonpartisan. So he isn't affiliated with the Republicans. He isn't affiliated with the Democrats. So for anybody out there, I know I'm standing on the stage, so to speak, and I'm representing like the devil's advocate, and I'm giving all of this pushback. But I'm giving the pushback just because I already know that there's going to be people in the audience. There's going to be people who automatically, if you say we need our own black party, no, we don't. No, we don't. We need our own hip hop party. No, we don't. We don't need none of that. And so I'm giving the pushback to air their opinions to some extent, but also because I want to make sure that I also want to make sure that we are aware that what Kaleem is talking about is not unreasonable. Like he said earlier, he brought up several rap artists or hip hop personalities who have ventured into politics. He brought up Killer Mike, who's been very vocal. He brought up Diddy, and I know nobody wants to talk about Diddy anymore. But the fact is, Diddy did start a hip hop political party. Might be one of the reasons they never mind. But there are hip hop people, there are hip hop artists, famous and not famous, who have interest in politics. And so that's again, I think that this is a very important topic, and I just wanted to shed a little light on that. Anything else you got to say, Kaleem?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that the time is now to really make a power move. We take a lot of time talking, which is academic. I think that because hip hop is an active movement for young people, the music, the dancing, the DJing, the graffiti, the fashion, all of it, you know what I mean, is active. You know what I mean? It's very young people are really vibrant. Older people spend a lot of time musing and thinking about stuff. Once the young people get started, you're gonna see how quickly that they change. Do It All certainly got elected if he was part of hip hop party, and I think he'd be receptive to this. We would see that we could have a lot of political power if we work united as one and start working our own interests. It's just because we are not connected. If we can get connected to do it all, that would be one person that's elected. And once you start to get one, one makes two, and two makes three, and three makes four. We got to keep working until we get everybody really in tune with these ideas that we could go for self and do for self and start to steward our own political ambitions.
Ashe, Asheo, I agree with you. I got a comment on the screen, and then I'm gonna jump back to and say, and get Cisse to speak a little bit. Ancient Future, shout out to Ancient Future in the chat room. Ancient Future says hip hop is different from rap. Okay, now I don't disagree with that. Anybody that's really into this culture will not disagree with that. If you're on the outside of the culture, then you may be like, huh? What? I don't understand. But if you into this culture, then you already know KRS-One stated it and rapped about it and made it plain a long time ago. So hip hop is what you live. Rap is what you do. Problem number one, Ancient Future says, how do you keep commercial artists and industry plants from infiltrating and diluting the conscious underground hip hop artists? Now, that's a good question. Now, I want to throw that out there. I may come back and say something. I really don't necessarily think that the commercial artist is the problem. The industry plant is definitely a problem. But before we jump into that, well, okay, C Stace dipped out again. Might be his connection. But when he comes back in, I'm gonna jump back to the other topic. Okay, hold on. Cisse is back. So Cisse, what did you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like, okay, the local government areas. If you guys infiltrate those areas, you can win Congress, local government. When you will start winning those positions, you will have a bargaining power. So, and then second thing, the naming is very important because what you name it, you don't want to you want to infiltrate like a Spanish community. So you want to name it in a way where they can see themselves. But and then so black people they have the number like a 40 million people or 46 million people. If you are the immigrant population, Africa, Caribbean, add it to you, and then plus you can infiltrate the Spanish areas where you know you can win. You will win. And then now your bargaining power will be greater.
Okay, I agree. I think I agree. We have the numbers to build our own party. I think it's a good point that he said. I'm not necessarily sure where I stand on the issue, but he said the name that you give it matters. Now, I'm not sure what he meant. I think he was referencing the idea of naming it the hip hop party. But I'm not sure because he didn't really jump out and say that, but I think that might have something to do with it. But with that, let's see. Let me jump back to. I'm gonna jump back to Kaleem. And Kaleem, do you have an opinion? Do you have an answer for Ancient Future, who wants to know how do you keep commercial artists and industry plants from infiltrating and diluting the conscious underground hip hop artists?
I mean, the reality is those guys are always going to exist. I think in America we have a country of free speech and free expression. So I don't really have a problem with them becoming a part of it. The problem that I do have is if they become the majority or start to rule over it. We gotta have the majority of the people with the proper mindset in order for us to have a functioning society. We can afford to have a few people who are going in their own direction. We need the majority of people working towards some of the values of the hip hop party that will ultimately bring us to where we need to be politically. We got to realize that the hip hop party, you know what I mean, is a pun. I mean, that's why it's so powerful. People think party, good time. They want to come and support it. Come support it with your vote. But we certainly want to look at a situation where we have black people and brown people who have been marginalized are starting to tell their story, and our people relate to it and say, yeah, I can put you in a place of responsibility. Hip hop artists have proven that they could be money makers and run their own corporations with the talent that they do have without going to college or having a college degree in what they went into business for. So we certainly realize that black people have always been talented enough to steward their own direction, but they have never been organized enough. The hip hop party is going to organize people, so we use all our energies efficiently in order for us to achieve our goals and make sure that we have a brighter future for our children as we start to focus on creating generational wealth for the masses and not the 1%.
Okay. You ain't gonna get a whole lot of pushback from me with that. If you have, so what you're saying is, if there's enough people, if there's enough good people, if there's enough good artists, conscious artists, the cream rises to the crop. The cream rises to the top. So the commercial artists, the industry plants, they can't take over if the right amount of conscious underground rappers are really rocking and rolling and doing their thing. That's what you're saying. I don't know if I want to agree with that. I want to agree with that. But let me give you an example. And I don't know if this is going to jive right correctly or not, but if you've really been into this hip hop thing and you've been around for a while, let me say that, because the younger generation, but if you've been here for a while, then you remember, for instance, way back in the day when hip hop was really just getting up off the ground, and networks like BET would have underground hip hop that they would play like after midnight. And so if you was an underground or unsigned or independent artist, but you got your coins together and you made a video for your song, you could get it played on BET, but it was going to be after midnight. It was like once the whole world is gone to sleep, you get your video played at 1 a.m. But that show, and I can't remember the name of it, but that show got very popular with the underground artists and the underground community and the people that loved underground art. It got very popular. And then because it got popular, the industry took notice. And the industry started directing some of the artists that they had already signed. We're going to have to get you over there on that 1 a.m. show. Because we can't really afford for all of those people to start flocking to these independent and unsigned artists when we got all this money wrapped up into you. So they started sending all of their already signed but yet to have blown artists over there. And the next thing you know, an underground independent unsigned artist couldn't get a video on. It was an industry takeover. That's just my personal example. That's just one example I wanted to throw out because I relate to the question that Ancient Future was asking. How are you going to keep the commercial artists and the industry plans out or from infiltrating and diluting when this is what they do? But that's just a thought that I'm throwing out there. Let me get these mics on for everybody. Ancient future. Let me throw some more messages on the screen so we can vibe and talk about this. Um, Ancient future also says hip hop has been around for over 50 plus years. And look at the state of it now as opposed to when it began. Again, this speaks to the example I was saying. It's very hard to keep the enemy out. It's very hard to keep the infiltrators out. Like they did successfully take over hip hop. It has gone from a conscious art form to a raunchy art form. I think it was even like 20 years ago, the conscious artists were like, they ain't signing nobody no more. And it's been nonstop 20 years of who can be nastier with the mouth, who can be raunchier with the mouth, who can be dirtier with the mouth. And it's not as though there aren't conscious artists out there. They're just not getting signed. You step up into those offices and you start spitting, this is for the people. Out. Next. You step into that same office and you start spitting. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say it. Boom. Here's $1 million. Here you go. So now I'm assuming this is Kaleem making a response to Ancient Future. Yep, we see we are able to rise high when we work as one. Well, maybe that's not a response to that. Kaleem also says, I'm from Brooklyn, but out of town now. But this is a movement as we are tapping into a power that's huge and powerful. We need to use that power to benefit our own lives. Hey, I'm right with you there. I'm 100%. I'm asking a question. If you're in the chat room, I'm asking where y'all from out of just personal curiosity, but also if we're gonna have this movement, then we gotta link up on the ground. Like we can't just have like you're not gonna be able to register this political party online, so to speak. What we would need is they're gonna have to be 4 or 5 people in New York, 4 or 5 people in Virginia, 4 or 5 people in California, and we're gonna have to set a schedule and figure some things out. That's why I'm asking the question because we got a network online and offline. So let me see. Ancient Future says, we all know the problem. True hip hop artists are and always have been anti gay, as opposed to commercial rappers and industry plants who acknowledge and glorify LGBTQ doctrine. Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I'm going to throw a twist in here. Now, I don't disagree with you, but is this pertinent to us building a hip hop political party? Can we build a hip hop political party and remain anti-gay in the letters? Or if by nature of building a political party, we have to be inclusive to the gay and all of those letters? That's the question. So Colleen, what you say? Maybe I don't know if Kaleem is there. Kaleem is not there. Let me see. Cisse, are you there? Okay, I ain't hearing nobody give a feedback response. So either
Yeah, I'm here.
something. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm just throwing out a couple of questions because I mean, primarily tonight is about the hip hop political party. Although I am fielding other questions because it all kind of interrelates anyhow. But since Ancient Future asked the question or makes a statement about hip hop being definitively anti-gay, the question is, can you build a political party and keep that part of your cultural perspective intact? Can you have a successful political party if you're going to be anti-gay in a society that is very much not anti-gay? Or does that hurt
Um,
your chances of having a successful political party? Whoop, his connection dipped out again. I mean, I don't personally, a part of me don't want to give an answer to that question, but I understand the question and the concern.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, American society is in that level, so I don't know how many are in that way. So I don't know. The politicians will know what they're supposed to do. You know.
Well, let
I
me ask
don't.
you this, Cisse. Let
Yes.
me ask you this. Technically, I would say I don't know either about as far as like Africa in general as a continent or Mali in particular, but there have been a lot of stories in the news where the news coverage is basically saying, you know, this particular American politician, sometimes it was Obama, sometimes it was Biden, Kamala Harris, so on and so forth. But there have been American politicians coming over to Africa in various countries, trying to get these African countries to change its laws um, about gays, trying to delete the anti-gay laws. So, with that as the case, to some extent, is America as a whole, like Ancient Future is saying, is very much more accepting of that lifestyle, politically speaking, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. American politicians. Yeah. They come to Africa, try to push that agenda. Yeah. Yeah. But I
okay,
mean,
so
each society is different. African society, I don't think they can do that there.
right. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's what I was getting at. What I was getting at was how how would the political parties in Mali or in an African country, how would they fare? How would the people respond to the political candidate that said vote for me, but yes, I am going to get rid of the anti-gay legislation and we're going to promote gays? Like, would their political candidacy um, still be successful, or would they fall off because of that? And the reason I ask is A, curiosity, B, so that other people can hear, you know, an honest opinion from someone who's from the continent. But even more importantly, I'll say this. If the general idea is that African culture on the continent is not that open to the gay lifestyle, whether it be gay,
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus and all that other stuff, then I would say, okay, that idea, that cultural perspective is pretty much 100% right, lock, stock, and barrel with hip hop culture. So that even
Yeah.
if a person, if you're on the continent or from the continent and you don't know too much about hip hop culture, one thing you can rest assured in is that true, original, underground, independent hip hop culture is not for the gay lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in Africa, if you have a political party, you try to push that, you will not win.
You will not win.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. If in a one seat, you will never win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, though, and again, that's interesting because the flip side is it's almost to the point over here where if you announce that you're anti that lifestyle, you will not win. Like over there, if you say you're anti, you could win. Over here, if you say you're anti, you could lose. Now, with that is the case, if we're building a hip hop political party and we're going to say we are anti that lifestyle, once again, I still ask the question: how are we going to win the election, whether it's local or federal, national level, if we're going to directly represent our culture as anti-gay, and but we want everybody to vote for us? So that's really a question. I mean, I'm throwing it out there. You can answer it in the chat, and if you answer it in the chat, I'll put your response on the screen. But I'm also hoping Kaleem weighs in because this is one of the juggernaut questions for him. But I'm not hearing anything from Kaleem. See, the mic is on, the camera is on. Let me see. So Ancient Future says, he says it's impossible. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit. Right, because Ancient Future says we all know true hip hop is definitely not about that lifestyle. Okay. He goes, the culture is about black male masculinity unconditionally. They replace conscious hip hop with commercialized rap. Everyone knows this. Not disagreeing with you, bro. And I guess he's saying impossible. I'm assuming that's like the answer to my question about can you do this party and represent that lifestyle, represent anti that lifestyle and still win? He says impossible if that was the correct answer. It's akin to mixing oil and water. You can stir it all day, but once you stop stirring, the two fluids will separate. Okay. Ancient Future. Why do you think the American narrative has pushed for hundreds of years the acceptance of gay mindsets and behaviors onto the young black youth of this country and throughout the diaspora? Oh, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with, excuse me, I don't know what that was. I think it has a lot to do with oppression, suppression. I think it has a lot to do with genocide. I think it has a lot to do with manipulation and control. You know, if you promote now, and let me say this, because I am not going to say that I am against that lifestyle or I am against the people who who are of that lifestyle. That's not for me to say. But I will say that if as a government and as a leading, if leaders of a society are promoting that lifestyle, I think it has a lot to do with the idea that if you promote that lifestyle and it catches on, then you have to worry a little bit less about the people who practice that lifestyle reproducing. And so if you have government entities or people in charge of government entities who are basically on record either to say it directly or to be in alignment with people who say it directly or indirectly, that they want to get rid of certain groups of people, well, then it's always messy if you start shooting up a bunch of people. So if you can devise some slick means of decreasing their population, then you will. And I think that has a lot to do with why the American narrative has been pushing for hundreds of years the acceptance of the gay mindset and behaviors on the young black youth in particular. But that's just my perspective. I like to think it's the proper perspective, but let me see. Let me see if well, Kaleem doesn't seem to be. Let me see what's going on. I'm not getting any responses from Kaleem. But Ancient Future's response is to disrupt and take their masculinity and manhood. Once this is done, the effeminization of African American men takes precedence over black male dominance. Again, that's all that's true. And that's how you keep a people down. You limit their power, you limit their ability to reproduce, you limit their livelihood, you limit their existence. And by doing so, you stay in control and you stay in power. Say, or if you're in the chat room, if you're just getting in, like I usually try to
I'm here.
say, um, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit that notifications button, share this with some people that you know, subscribe to the channel, stay active in the chat room. If you want to get up on the platform stage and be live, and the link is pinned, so you can see the pinned link and you can hit that and I'll let you in. But we got a lively conversation going on tonight about whether or not it's time to build a hip hop party. Now, if we build this hip hop party, I would say that in building a hip hop party for politics, One of the other things that's lock, stock, and barrel with that is conducting business, doing business. So you would be doing business in hip hop, in the hip hop community, with hip hop music, but you would also be looking for other avenues to raise your funds and conduct business. I mean, Donald Trump sold sneakers, and a lot of people made fun of it, like, oh my God, how could he dare do it? That was a fundraiser. That was literally a fundraiser. He sold those sneakers to raise money. So if you have a hip hop political party, you need to be conducting business on the outside of politics to raise money. So you can conduct business with our African brothers and sisters on the continent. There's nothing wrong with building a party and also owning a shipping company where you ship in produce from the continent, fabrics from the continent, or some other thing. Kaleem Shabazz is, at least in the chat room, he said, let me throw that on the screen. Let us seize the moment. We need support. We have the numbers. The ones with the money are with the 1%. But if we move as a collective, we can have the money to elevate. Okay, I agree with that. Kaleem, do you have, I don't know, is there a GoFundMe page for this hip hop political party? Is there any way that people can give donations to this hip hop political party?
I mean, right now we at the nascent stage because the party kind of dissolved, and I'm trying to bring it back again. I mean, right now we don't have a GoFundMe. We could set one up because all money is good money, except for money that has strings attached to it. If we can have our people working to support the party on a grassroots level, that would certainly be welcome, no question. That's something we could certainly look into.
Okay, okay, that's what's up. Um, I would think that if we're gonna be building this, if you are interested in building this hip hop political party, if you are interested in helping build this hip hop political party, you need to give one of us a shout out. You can hit me up. I will have to drop my email. I don't really give out my email that much, but I will put an email in this chat room somewhere, and you can hit me up, or you can hit up Kaleem. Do you have an email that people can reach out to you?
I certainly do. It's KaleemShabazz3 at gmail.com. That's how my name is spelled. If you can see it in the chat, KaleemShabazz3 at gmail.com. Get at me. We can discuss the political party. The party is something that is a time and place. We got to prepare now for the next election. We have a 2 year wait before the next election, and we got to see if we can get some people in at least municipal or state office before we start to go for the big prize of the Oval Office.
Okay. If you type your email into the chat, then I can put it on the screen so people can see it that way also. But yeah, we got 2 years to um at least win some seats somewhere. Right now the current discourse is we got 2 years for the Democrats to win some seats to take back some of the control from the Republicans. But it don't have to be Democrats. Anybody can take back them seats. If an independent takes that seat, then really that independent will be in a very interesting position of power. Because if an independent can get some of those seats, then they can sit back and say, okay, Republicans, mega nuts, what y'all gonna do for my people for me to vote alongside y'all? Democrats, what y'all gonna do for my people for me to vote alongside y'all? So it is a very interesting time. Now is the time to build it because, like, the Democrats are only out of power, so to speak. Like, for instance, in the House of Representatives, they're only down by like 3 seats. I think it's 5 seats, and 3 seats are up for. They have actually 3 seats that are going to be up for grabs this year. Now, we may not be able to get everything organized for a run this year, but they're already saying that if they can get these 3 seats this year, then they can at least jump in and begin stopping some of this fascist looking stuff that the Elon Felon is doing and orangutan is allowing. But with those three seats, if we get the if we had a well-oiled machine running in the hip hop political party, we could compete for these three seats and continue competing for the ones that are going to be up for grabs in 2026. So now is definitely the time. Now is definitely the time. Let me see. Let me see. Ancient Future has said, let me see. It's like the so-called FBA taking the symbols and ideology of the Black Panther Party, knowing full well they are not about getting into gunfights with police officers and federal agents. Well, that's absolutely 100% true. The FBA people ain't about nothing but arguing and calling names. They definitely ain't about that Black Panther life. They definitely ain't about that Black Panther life. All they really want to do is call names, particularly the other black groups and other brown groups of people. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Cisse is back. Let me get him back up on the screen. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to, you are watching, you are tuned into Shabazz with the proper perspective. When we're talking about politics, whether or not it's time to build a hip hop party, an independent, pro-black, not anti-white, pro-black people political party to seize power from those that keep ignoring us. We are also discussing how we connect, link up with, and associate with people in on the African continent and the whole entire African diaspora. I do usually say this is a Pan African channel. I am a Pan Africanist, so I never miss an opportunity to put that out there. I believe that as Africa rises, Black people rise. If Africa falls, Black people fall all over the planet. Cisse, did you have something you wanted to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it has to like you said, if you have a hip hop party, and then if they are anti some lifestyle, they might not be able to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So probably the naming of the political party it would be very important here. You have to name it in a way you can use people, just like you said. One of the guy who contested in a local election, he won since 2020 something, and he's still there. So, but
Mm-hmm.
he's hip hop culture. So you can target people like those to appoint them to contest. But
Mm-hmm.
the naming itself, maybe I don't know if you name it as a hip hop party, if that will be a good idea. So that will be left to you guys to see how society thinks.
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose a name.
His connection must be going out again. But I mean, he makes an interesting point. You do need a name that pulls people in. And I'll be honest with you, when I first heard about it, I was a little skeptical myself. I was like, hip hop party. I mean, what? Like, come on now, what? But I'll say this for one, it's grown on me. I don't feel as I don't feel as I don't know, antagonistic about it today as I did a month ago. So the name has grown on me. I'm always attached to hip hop. I got hip hop is in my heart and my soul because I grew up on it. I had all kind of problems with hip hop when it started making the shift, but like Ancient Future said, I do recognize that 95% of that shift came from outsiders, industry plants, and an agenda to do just what they did. So I should not allow myself, we should not allow ourselves to walk away from that which we created just because the enemy is trying to co-opt it. So in that regard, I'm good with the name. And I think that especially in America, I think that it's almost like a double-edged sword. So, like for the people who no longer have any interest in politics, I think the hip hop party would grab their attention and make them want to listen up. And if we articulate our ideas correctly, then I think they'll jump on the train. But for people who are, you know, well, people who are comfortable on the Republican train, people who are comfortable on the Democratic train, okay, they may not, the name itself may turn them off, but I'm not necessarily sure that we need to be worried about them, or at least not worried to the point where a name change would be warranted. I would say, if anything, we should have maybe two names to the party, if that makes sense. Like, books will come out with two titles, a main title and a subtitle. Movies will come out with two titles, a main title and a subtitle. So you can have a hip hop party that is something with two names. It can be popularly known as the hip hop party, but it could be something else, if whoever, once we come together in committee and discussing and whatnot, we'll see. But let's see, Kaleem, you got anything else to say, or you want to
Yeah,
chime in on the name
I
issue?
really like the hip hop party as a name because it's a
Mhm.
metaphor. Because hip hop party really gets your attention. They think good time, fun, and when people think of politics, they don't think of good time. Hip hop is also our generation. We had the rock and roll generation. We suddenly remember when they had Rock the Vote and they had Russell Simmons become a part of it to actually give support to the Democratic Party and to rock music. I'm saying no, we're going independent and we're giving our support to ourselves in the hip hop generation. We realize that the rock generation is past already. Bill Clinton was a rock and roll president. We certainly realize that Obama could have been a blues president. 'Cause I seen him in Chicago getting down with BB King. You know what I mean? Or a soul president. You know what I mean? And now we need a
Mhm.
hip hop president. So I mean, we realize that every generation has something to tie them to an era. So you're trying to realize we in the era of hip hop right now, which is black control. They don't want to see black people in the lead of America. They don't want to see the face card of black people of America be black people. You know what I mean? And I don't even know why, because the last time that happened with Obama and his wife, America was in a really good spot. We had jobs being created. We saved, excuse me, black people saved America from the conundrum that the Bushes brought. We certainly realized that it was black people who were involved in the political process that allowed Obama to become elected. There is a really good documentary, not documentary, a news program about We Count, where all the black people, all the black leaders got together and came up with strategy on what to do about an Obama presidency. We certainly realized that we had black people in office, so we had to come together as a united front, which was unity, which is something that we needed. That's why the We Count program is something that we should check out if you get a chance. It's on YouTube. We certainly realized that the black people have come of age and they're not we're starting to think for ourselves, but the recount was still putting others to change their behavior as opposed to putting ourselves in political power to make key decisions that affect our people. We got to become autonomous and grown. We can no longer ask our stewards or our caretakers to make moves for us when we're old enough to make moves for ourselves. Someone like AOC would be great for the political party. That's hip hop political party because she's young, she's brass with new ideas to bring America to a new future. This is the new millennium. The hip hop party is a party of the new millennium. Realize young people will inherit the nation, so they don't want to be inheriting the problems created by others. They want to fix the problem and do things with the God-given ability that they've been given for they to make a contribution into the building of a better America.
Okay. Uh, Now I got to get some pushback. Now I got to get some pushback. One of the things you said, and it's true indeed. When Obama was in office, he ushered in some definitively positive economic financial times. But one of the things you said something along the lines of you don't know why people don't understand or appreciate the good that he did. Something like that you said.
Yeah, right. I
Okay.
mean, a
Now,
lot of
but
people.
this is my pushback though. This is my pushback. Now, maybe maybe we could have some maybe we can have some conversation about which people. But let me just say in general, this country has always been about race first. As much as this country loves capitalism, capitalism is its religion. But this country loves race first capitalism, race first ideology. So, the reason they don't have an appreciation for the good times that Obama ushered in is because he wasn't white.
Yeah, I agree.
And the pushback that we got, I would say this: had Obama never won the election, Trump never would have won the election.
Yeah, but Trump
The
didn't win the
hatred
election.
that, hold on, the hatred that Trump represents, the hatred that he spews, the hatred that he inspires, all comes from the fact that they are afraid of losing total control, losing absolute power. And Obama represents that. Obama represents it on to an extent and on a level that perhaps only Dr. Francis Cress Wilson um could have predicted. Because there's a lot of people, here's what I mean by that. A lot of people had a problem with Obama, and a lot of people say he ain't even black because he same thing they said about Kamala Harris. She ain't even black because of now Obama's father was born in Kenya and his mother was white. So there are people that are saying Obama ain't even black. Now, it doesn't matter that that's dead wrong. What matters is that's their perception, that's their feeling, and they're not going to walk away from it. And so Dr. Francis Cress Wilson was saying that this country is all about race first dominance, white race dominance. So their pushback against the benefits that were given to them financially, economically, as a country, as a society, is because they were given to them by a black person. They don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want success if it comes to them through the hands of a black person. They would rather fail. And that's why we have Trump in office along with Elon the way that we have them in office today. But so that's just that, that's a little bit of the pushback I wanted. Like, they're never going to. So even if we get this hip hop party running, if we don't have a way to win multiple elections back to back, then the second we lose, like we'll win an election, and then when that term is over, if we lose the next one, we're gonna get Trump 3.0. Because every time they are not in power, they come back harder and madder and angrier and more racist than ever before.
Yo, you 100% right. I agree with that. We realize that Trump actually became powerful because of the Obama backlash. We realized that it wasn't powerful enough to beat Hillary. He lost by 2 million votes. It wasn't powerful enough to beat Biden. He lost by 8 million votes, but he certainly beat uh, Harris because Harris wasn't, when they started to bring questions to her name on her ethnicity, she couldn't get the spiritual support of black people because she married outside the race, something Obama didn't do, which which prove his blackness, and some of her issues are certainly not in tune with the working class people. And she was more for everybody else more than she was for our people, because she wants our support. Malcolm warned us about carpetbagging our politicians who come in our masquerade in order to try to hoodwink us to give us their support so that they can give it to the 1% or the ruling class or the establishment. We certainly realized that Obama was a stepping stone. He did not get us completely over the river. We got to keep working until we find someone who's ready to make the bottoms come up, and we can start to deal with some of the economic and social inequalities that exist within this nation before it erodes our social fabric so much that the country implodes.
Yeah, this is true. I'm not going against what you're saying. I do think it's interesting that Trump won by 2.5 million popular votes, which is not a lot in the grand scheme of things. But the pushback is the pushback. The blacklash is the blacklash. And all of those people came out hard and heavy to vote for Trump because they did not want to see another black person in charge. It doesn't matter. We over here in the black community can have these silly arguments and debates if we want to. I don't think we should have them. I don't think we ever should have had them. I think they were stupid. But we had them nonetheless. And there were a lot of people, well, there were about 20% of us that did say she's not black. But the overwhelming majority of white people said she is black. She too black for us and we ain't voting for her. 2.5 million of them said she too black. So we can have this little academic, if you want to call it that. Silly is what I want to call it. Stupid is what I want to call it. We had that conversation. Didn't convince no more than 20% of us, but that 20% could have had a better impact if they weren't stupid enough to believe that mess. But the backlash came from the fact that they do not want to see another black person. They do not want to see another brown person. They kicked Vivek Ramaswamy on out of that whole Doge thing. Once they realized, well, he may have helped us get it established, but he ain't gonna have nothing to do with it. Goodbye, bro. Goodbye, brown boy. And Kaleem says Harris is not popular enough to defeat the white power structure of the fact that she is female. The white power structure, yeah, because they also dislike women. They don't like women in charge. So now with that as a statement, now in building this hip hop political party, are you saying we only have men running for office? Okay, Kaleem been tuned out. I hope that ain't what you're saying. Let me see, is anybody else in the chat getting active? Ancient Future retracted a message. So-called clean. Okay, well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we might be winding down. Kaleem's sound is out or something ain't working quite properly. Let me see what else we got on the agenda. Let's see. Okay, so not too much is going on. Let's see. Okay, so we've been going for 2 hours. We've had a pretty lively conversation. I would like to thank everybody that tuned in. Give a shout out to Ancient Future. Give a shout out to Cisse. Give a shout out to Kaleem for joining in and being the guest. If nobody else wants to jump on the live, we've been talking about the hip hop political party that needs to be built starting now. It needs to be solidified in time to run for office in 2026. Uh, you can reach out to me on here or via email, and it is in my. It'll be on in the description. The email will be in the description. And then we will see what else is going on as I begin. Before I get out of here, I want to show a couple of things. See if it's gonna work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kaleem is back.
Yes, sir. Excuse me for a minute. I had to go do something.
Okay. Well, I was getting ready to show one more page before we get up out of here. But it looks like that page is not gonna show up. So with that being the case, it looks like I'm gonna wind down and get ready to get out of here. We have had a very interesting show. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm getting a couple of text messages, but they don't want to jump on the live. So okay, what we're gonna do is one more again. I'm gonna share the screen. And just to momentarily remind everybody, if you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. I have some of the comments are pinned in the chat room, and some of the comments will be pinned on the comment page. So like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment, and I will also hold on. I hope my brother Kaleem is not
Yo, I'm
dying over there.
from right here.
All right, I'm gonna mute your mic till you get yourself cleared up. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything about YouTube, then you know what a lot of people do once they get their whole YouTube channel fully established, then they have a link on their YouTube channel for their merch. Now, I don't have my page is not fully established. We in the building process. Like Colleen would say, we are nascent. We are in the nascent stages. So what I do is just show you real quick my merch page, and there's a link on my channel on my page for this merch. Being a Pan Africanist, being a pro Black person, I'm a pro Black Pan African creative individual. So my T-shirts are available for your perusal. Black teachers, I particularly like this one. You know, everybody is familiar with Black Lives Matter. And I felt like something should be done because I don't think it's just appropriate to just yell out Black Lives. So what I did was created this T-shirt: Black teachers, voices, lives, economics, culture, and power matter. It all matters. It was Marcus Garvey that said, "Buy black, be black, buy black, and everything else will take care of itself," or something along those lines. So you can get this T-shirt. It comes in multiple colors. Beautiful dark red burgundy, light blue, green. Honestly, I don't even know what the name of this color is. Mauve, that's what it is. It's mauve. Sizes come in small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, and 3XL. So again, I'd just like to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the show, if you tuned in, if you feel like we're doing anything positive and you want to help support the show, then you can purchase one of the shirts and it will come directly shipped to you. And I will give you a shout out. Send me a picture of yourself wearing it, and I'll blast it on the screen as well. But with that, what we're gonna do right here, what we're gonna do right now, is get ready to get on up out the building and say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in tonight. The question was, is it now time to build a hip hop political party? The answer is yes. And the only thing that remains is, are you down for it? Are you gonna build with us? Hit us up so we can schedule some events and get these things working and rolling on out. So again, you've been tuning into The Proper Perspective. My name is Shabazz, and I'm going to get on out of here with the theme song, intro, and outro.
Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. The proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. So much controversy and a lot of deception. You don't know who's coming through with the light and reflection, and whose mouth is mumbling, trick knowledge deceptive. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Shabazz, break it down with the proper perspective. Break it down.